Okay. Today, as part of the virtually different series, Strengthening the Core, we are going to work on some warm-ups to lift student creativity. And I'm going to focus on warming up that brain. When our students come into class after a passing period, or if they've been sitting still for a long time, sometimes we need a little break, and we need to work on getting our brain going again. So I'm going to share a couple ideas that I do with my students to get our brains back in action and going again. So I'm just going to share a couple ideas with you. A couple ideas that they're quick, they're creative. My students absolutely love them. They beg me to do them, even not at the beginning of class. So I'm going to share the worst way, STEM gories, what else, and bad ideas. And these are all interactive. I usually do these using Nearpod as our warm up. That's what my students are used to, but you can just do these on if you have STEM notebooks, or if you have a set of whiteboards, or if you don't even have like the real set of whiteboards, if you go to Home Depot and have them cut up some shower board, any of those things work. There's so many ways that you can do these high tech or low tech. So we will start with the worst way. And I absolutely love this because sometimes the worst way can lead to the best way of doing things. So what you do is you pick a common problem and you have students brainstorm the absolute worst ways to solve that problem. They can either work alone or in pairs. They can draw one solution or make a list and brainstorm several solutions. And this doesn't have to be a one-time thing. One of our favorites is to ways to open a pickle jar or a peanut butter jar. How can you unclog a toilet? That always there's some great drawings that are involved in that one. Remove gum from under a table, clean up a spill, or remove a stain. And the students come up with some really awful ideas. But then sometimes when they come up with an awful idea, someone will say, but wait, what if? And that turns into a good idea. These are some student examples. The worst way to change a light bulb, my fourth graders, we're working on some ideas with some circuits, and we've been talking about light bulbs and some electrical safety along with that. And here we have someone who is trying to change a light bulb without turning off the fan switch. And so obviously some safety ideas there. And then swing until the light bulb falls down, and then you can change it that way. That resulted in some singing by my class. They were singing the Chandelier song, which resulted in some laughs by us. So, but it got their kids being creative. And then the worst way to open a pickle jar is to using a weak twig, or to use a fish to open the pickle jar. And then of course, again, the whole part is getting them to be creative. So we have this sixth grader who drew their little stick figure there, getting involved in on the act. So and again, that's the whole point, for them to be creative. And I will say, with the sixth grader, every warm up we have done since then has involved the pickle jars. Keep our recurring characters since then. Every other activity we do, there's been a pickle jar involved. Okay, and then and they also know the worst thing in my class you can do is to not try. So this student has explained the worst way is to not open it at all. So not trying at all is the worst way that you can do something. And then again, lots of inside jokes with my students, and they love to rickroll me. Okay, so the next one is STEMgories. If you're familiar with Scattergories, this is the same thing, only centered around obviously STEM. So you choose a category and you spin the wheel, and you can find lots of these digital wheels online, or you can even have the kids be creative and make their own wheels. There are lots of fun wheel makers online. You can take some of those fidget spinners that you have stored in your drawer that you took away from kids 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And there are lots of TikToks about how you can, or 5-minute crafts about how you can turn those into spinners, and they're kind of fun. So you choose a category and spin the wheel, and then students work in groups. They have 90 seconds. I use 90 seconds. It can be any amount of time to come up with as many words related to their topic as possible that start with the letter that came up on the spinners. We limit hours to STEM categories: science, technology, engineering, math, computers, robots, qualities of a good STEM student. Sometimes we go crazy. We have a student choice topic, something we're working on with a current project. But then again, you can do anything that you want that's related to what you are working on it. They love it. Sometimes we have lots of discussions about whether or not that topic is, whether or not that answer is related. And of course, when students share their answers, if they have answers in common, they have to cross it out. So the more answers that the more creative they are, the more points they get. So that's a great way for them to kind of be creative, and they're working in groups, so they're collaborating. And also this one has to be very quiet, because if they say it out loud, then obviously they lose the answer because someone else will take it and then they won't get points for it. So that one is STEMgories. It's pretty fun, and that one you can keep repeating over and over because it's always going to be different. And this one, my students struggle with this one a lot. This is where we can really see that we need to work on our creativity and warming up our brain. This one is called What Else? So we all know that a toothbrush is great for brushing your teeth, but like, what else could it be used for? I gave my students 3 minutes to draw or write down 3 alternate uses for a toothbrush that didn't involve brushing teeth. Um, we really struggled with this one. And also, you can use other items too, like pencils or shoes. What would you do with like one sock or a paper clip or a shoelace? But we just really, it was like brushing a dog's teeth or brushing a cat's teeth, or brushing your hair. A lot of them were still like using brushing things. A couple of them turned them into building things, but we really did just struggled from like going out from a limb. Now these guys, we were doing some other uses for a pencil. And you can see that we've used some that they've recalled their prior knowledge. And so now they're brushing their teeth with a pencil. I chose that one because I love that picture. It's so cute. And then with the pencil, there you have someone who's eating, and there we have the open a pickle jar, because we like to recall that. Then we're using it as a sword. And then we're using it to clean out our ears. And again, I did have to warn them that we don't put anything smaller than our elbow into our ears. But they did use their creativity showing their before and after. But sometimes they do struggle with this one. It's hard for them to get the original use out of their minds. So this one is really good practice for them. Okay, and then we have, here's the toothbrush. We're using the toothbrush for a toilet brush, where they explain that their mom does that. They're eating the toothbrush, which I don't really think they would like it, but brushing a hair, pretending it's a rocket ship, cleaning your car wheels, and as a fishing hook. I don't know how effective that would be, but those were some of our best. So we're working on that one. And then bad idea. And we talk about inventions in my class a lot. We usually focus on good ideas. Um, but we also talk about some bad ideas because there are some really bad ideas out there, like New Coke or lifesaver holes. I don't know what they were thinking there. The Zune, if you were as old as me, you remember the Zune. Or maybe you don't because it was a really bad idea. Maybe you owned a Zune while the rest of us owned our iPods. Yeah, school before Labor Day, those are all bad ideas. But we can have students come up with some other really bad ideas for products. And so things like sandpaper socks or ketchup popsicles. Speaking of ketchup, do any of you remember like the purple ketchup that they had that lasted for like 5 minutes? Also bad idea. So, but these are things that they could come up with that maybe might turn into a good idea. Or maybe sandpaper socks. Some people do have really bad feet. Maybe sandpaper socks would help them. I don't know. And then here are just some quick ideas, just when you don't have much time. Go around the room, have students give you a noun for each letter of the alphabet. Of course, for STEM, we would focus on STEM words. Have students write their name with their right and left hand simultaneously. They have done studies that show that gets your brain working. Play classical music during work time. They might grumble, but again, studies have shown that will get your brain working. At the beginning of class, if they come in all worked out from passing period or whatever's gone on during passing period, or if they've had a work time where they've been moving around the room and lots of things are going on, you can have them meditate for a moment and just bring themselves back to center. Another thing that you can do is you can combine stories. So what you do is you swap characters from two well-known stories. So you could take Jack and Jill and the Three Pigs and swap their characters, and how would they react to a given situation from that plot. So just as a quick thing, remember you don't want to get carried away from this. This isn't your whole class. This is just to get your brain warmed up. So I set a timer every day, and it's fun because usually there's some kind of groans, but they look forward to coming in and getting started and wondering what our brain warm up for the day is going to be. And like I said, I use Nearpod usually to get these things going, but anything will do. Good old pen and paper, whiteboards, all of those things, but it's just to get our creativity flowing and get them ready for their day, kind of get them excited for whatever programs you have planned for their day. Hope these ideas work for you, and maybe they'll get your brain working so you can come up with some different ones for your class. Thanks for joining me today. Some last notes. If you were joining for the Keep Indiana Learning, there are PGPs available for this session. And also, if you go to the Keep Indiana Learning website, there are so many more resources that are available on so many topics. Please go and check those out, and maybe even see how you can become a contributor yourself.